What's up? What's going on? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? Let's get down to the situation. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video, y'all. Let's get into this whole situation. Let's talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15, episode 4. But we're going to talk about a little bit of episode 3 too as well. But let's get down to the battle when it comes to Marlo Hampton and Kandi Burruss over, whether Kandi should have did this, whether Kandi should have did that for Marlo's nephew, and also Marlo calling out Kandi saying she's not a good friend. What's going on over there at the OLG? What's going on at Kandi's restaurants where people are getting shot? And Kandi Burruss also wanted to clarify that when it comes to Marlo's nephew Quentin, that he did work at the old lady gang, but the person that took his life did not work at the old lady gang. Marlo stated that her nephew met his roommate at the old lady gang. The roommate is the person that took Marlo's nephew's life. And Kandi Burruss is basically saying when it comes to Marlo Hampton, she is using her nephew for a storyline because she didn't really act like she even cared herself, because Kandi's basically saying the text messages that Marlo showed on last night's episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, yes, Marlo did hit her up, and she did say at the end of the day, well, damn, I'm sorry to hear that. So in any event, they did have a conversation about the whole situation. Kandi did her research and found out, when Marlo's nephew actually worked for, the OLG. And then Kandi Burruss then said that it didn't seem like, she didn't say this in this words, but when she said that the funeral was on the 20th of that month that he, passed on, rest in peace, rest in power to, Quentin, it was August 20th, I believe. And then Marlo hit her up basically, on August 18th to ask her about doing Cameo and doing some type of product thing, selling stuff, signed under her, signed for Kandi to sign under Marlo. And that way, Marlo would get a fee. She would get some money from signing up a celebrity for this particular app where celebrities basically give you a shout out personally and somebody pay for them to do that for you. Okay, so in any event, Kandi's throwing it out there like, girl, if you were so worried about the funeral that I didn't send a card and I didn't send no roses, you wasn't too concerned because you started sending me stuff about business opportunities. Maybe Marlo thought that Kandi was going to say, oh, Cole, she just lost her nephew, let me help her out. No, Kandi's not that free like that. Okay, so in any event, there's a whole lot going on with this situation. And also, Marlo's basically saying the picture that was used for her nephew's obituary, rest in peace, rest in power, that, he had on an old lady gang outfit and he worked there. And, I was like, damn. And no car, no nothing. And Kandi basically says that she don't really know, Marlo's nephew. She said basically he only worked there, throughout the pandemic, and he basically worked there in I think November of 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and then everything was closed, and then he came back for June and August, and that was it. And Kandi basically says that Marlo's running with a storyline, basically doing everything to try to affect her business, and she's desperate and she's picking for straws. And Marlo's basically saying that Kandi never cared, and then Marlo is saying that Kandi should have helped her expunge her record so she would have the right to carry arms. Like, child, what is going on? This don't even make no sense. I don't know what's up with this drama, y'all, but y'all tell me what y'all think about that whole situation. We'll get into more of it, but let's just get into the episode. Okay, a whole lot going on in this situation. So it just seemed like this is crazy. Okay, now, do you guys think Marlo is actually hurt? Do she has a point? Should Kandi have sent some roses or a card or something like that? Because I believe Marlo said that somebody in her family had passed away and Nene catered, the repass or whatever. Nene paid for this. I think Marlo thought that Kandi was going to do something like that, and no. Um that didn't happen. So what y'all think about this whole situation? And Kandi basically saying, I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't keep in contact. I was like, damn, Kandi. Kandi's not trying to hear it at all. She's not trying to take no blame for nothing. What is there to blame her for? You know, a decent thing, you know, what she don't have to do would be to send a card. She just basically had that conversation with Marlo, and that was it. Yeah, send some cards, send some flowers, send some roses, send something. Maybe Marlo wanted something from her. I don't know. Wanted her time, because Marlo keeps saying that Kandi don't do this, Kandi don't do that, Kandi's worldwide, Kandi won't help with this, Kandi won't help with that, Kandi's not that person that you think she is. I think she thinks that Kandi's supposed to do way much more for her, like it takes a village to raise a child. But at the same time, Marlo, when people kind of help you a little bit, you just bite them. You know what I mean? You quick to bite somebody and chop them down quick. So that's why a lot of people don't even have no compassion for you. So what y'all think about this whole situation? In any event, let's get to Kandi. Kandi was going in. Kandi said on, speak on it, that yes, she was going in on Courtney. She was telling Courtney off. She was like, Courtney, how you think you better this and better that, and you this and you that? Like, how you gonna try to put me down? Because basically Kandi's saying, the girl is saying that, Kandi said that she shouted out a spot, a place, and everybody of the finest of Atlanta showed up to that spot. They had business. And then Courtney's basically saying, once Kandi gave out the shout out to this particular business, it started booming and people started coming, but they were ghetto. Money is money, okay, especially if you got security and you doing business and black people supporting you, so it gotta be ghetto. What about people just out here supporting their community? Okay, then Kandi goes down there and she shows up and she's supporting black businesses. Come on, y'all be doing way too much, calling somebody ghetto, Lord, just for showing up. And then I did like that Kenya Moore, she jumped in and she was like, Courtney, you acting too buck, because Courtney was acting like, I don't know, like she popped something, baby, and she swallowed, and she's just like, ha ha, that's what I said, I'm ghetto, I'm from the hood, I'm this and that, that's where I grew up from. And so Kandi was like, oh, this new girl is not gonna come and try me. And then Kenya Moore said, it seems like you're not trying to hear what she gotta say, because you acting so buck, Kenya wanted to say, you acting so ghetto and so ignorant that it don't even seem like it's facing you. Like, child. And then Kandi started reading. Kandi started saying, girl, you know that's what's wrong with society, people saying this and judging people, blah blah blah. So Kandi did the whole speech, she did the whole Broadway performance, and she was upset and mad, and she was reading her down though. And Marlo was so mad that Courtney was getting read down. She was just looking at Kandi and looking at her girl like, why are you laughing? Marlo wanted Courtney to get up and start reading back. She wanted Courtney, to be buck with it, and Courtney was not buck with it, baby. And look at Kenya Moore. She looked like she ready to just jump. Like she already knows where this season is going. We all do too as well. We got storylines about nephews. Okay, it's going there. And so you got that whole situation, and then you got Marlo. Basically Marlo's talking to Drew, and then about confronting Drew, saying, Drew, why didn't you say nothing? Drew, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you say that someone got shot, that, Kandi's nephew got shot? Why are you trying to cover it up? Why are you trying to hide it? Why are you trying to be this? Because Drew is trying to be respectful. She don't got no beef with Kandi. She ain't trying to embarrass Kandi, and she ain't trying to mess up her business, but at the same time, she's trying to get the message across. Let's talk about something. And Marlo's acting like, girl, you were supposed to do this, you were supposed to do that. Like, she was supposed to say the gun violence. Maybe she didn't want to say it, and so Marlo was pissed off about it. Why didn't you say it? And Marlo did say, oh, you talking about the person that got shot? Because Drew was basically saying the incident that happened at Blaze and that whole situation, and Marlo's basically really getting defensive about the whole situation. And now we see why she's getting defensive about the situation, because she's saying that her nephew worked at the old lady gang, not at Blaze, and therefore she was pissed off that Kandi's not saying anything because her nephew got shot. And I guess she wants to talk about violence, and then there being violence at Kandi's restaurants, as far as old lady gang, the original spot. There was a shooting there inside the place. People were wounded. And then you had the recent shooting that was at Blaze Steak and Seafood, restaurant. And that was Kandi's nephew. cousin Melvin. So, that was a whole situation. So Marlo's basically, she's trying to piggyback off of these tragic events that is happening at, the old lady gang or Blaze Steakhouse, and she's trying to make a moment out of it, especially when it has to do with her nephew. And also, Marlo said that she wanted, Kandi and Kandi's family, and Kandi should have had acknowledged, her nephew or something. And it seemed like Marlo was kind of just basically waiting for the best time to bring up her nephew, and probably with the second shooting, at one of Kandi's restaurants, that she was going to bring up the situation. That was going to be a storyline, whether it hurt or not. I guess she wants to get paid off for her pain, and then also, give her nephew a proper send-off, because nobody really knew about her nephew. So everybody started talking about her nephew. Now she can brag to the family, say, hey, listen, I had him on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He looked nice. He was a chef. The old lady gang, and he was tragically, taken by his roommate, murdered him, blah, blah, blah. So I think she wanted to get that story out too as well, but at the same time, she wanted to shame Kandi and then bring negative publicity to Kandi's businesses as well, even though it's an open investigation. But everybody's been talking about the shootings at, the old lady gang and at Blaze restaurant. So you got Marlo doing what Marlo does. She found a way in. She found a way to use whatever she's going to use. And Kandi basically called out, Marlo on the situation, saying, girl, like, your family, I hope your family see right through this, because you're really doing something wrong. Like, you're using your nephew, and what happened to him as a storyline to get back at me. And basically, Kandi is saying that when it comes to Marlo, she's not being sincere about the whole situation, and she's trying to, create beef between Kandi and her family. So what y'all think about that whole situation? I was like, Lord have mercy, the depths of a storyline. Like, this is crazy. But we have seen things on reality TV already where family members will reenact a death or a 911 call, or when they find out they tragically lost somebody, just for it to be recorded on the show, even though it happened months after, like, Chicago Black Ink Crew, to want Drew to attack Kandi and calling out Drew that she should basically, anything negative about Kandi or something, just use the words, just say the words. Why try to give her so much grace? And because Kandi can create opportunities for her than you can, and Kandi has already created an opportunity for her where she's working and acting, on private projects and things of that nature. So Marlo says, I lost my nephew, Blasing the third. She's yelling, she's screaming. She called her a B word. And so I was told, or I heard, that, Marlo did a lot more worse to Drew. Kenya Moore is happy with her new boyfriend that she is dating. She is giving him a 9.5 Yelp review, okay? And then we have the situation where Kenya dishes on the BravoCon situation where she fell. She kicked her leg up because she fell. And she was basically keeping into character and didn't let people see her sweat. Okay, that's how you do it. And she's also making sure that she gets, a dance routine and everything. And she's coming for Monyetta Shaw to teach her. And we find out that Monyetta Shaw is a famous dance teacher. Okay, go ahead, girl. And then Kenya Moore's boyfriend calls Monyetta, but not Kenya. That seemed kind of weird. But boyfriend's on the phone, okay? And he's liking him some Kenya Moore, and Kenya Moore is liking him. Okay, that's the whole situation. Then we get to Marlo. This is where Marlo is ticked off and she is upset. And basically she is talking about Kandi not acknowledging her nephew and acting like it was nothing, and she didn't send any flowers and any roses. And she's also complaining that there's a whole lot going on. Needs to be an investigation, finding out what's going on at the Kandi Burris restaurants when it comes to the old lady gang and Blaze, because they're shooting. And she's saying that her nephew Quentin met the roommate that he moved in with at the old lady gang restaurant. So basically she wants something to go on. She wants some investigation. She thinks there's a conspiracy. What's going on with these shooting? What's going on? There needs to be security. There need to be this. There need to be that. Basically, yes, she is reaching for the stars. And maybe, maybe she's triggered. Or maybe this is a storyline, child. Kandi Burruss says she is fishing. She is hunting. She's doing everything to get a storyline. But right now, you got shootings that happen at the old lady gang and Blaze. And then she said her nephew done met a man at the old lady gang and they're roommates. And he took her nephew's life. And that's Kandi's fault, child. There needs to be an investigation. Girl, she is reaching for the stores. And so she shows the text messages. And basically, she's showing that Kandi didn't really say anything about I'm sorry, and Kandi showed on her YouTube channel that she did say that she was sorry about what happened and what went down with her nephew. So Marlo's saying all these things. She's saying it in front of Courtney, and she's saying that Miss Kandi is supposed to be worldwide. She didn't help me remove, or get my record expunged so I can carry a gun because my house is broken into. A lot of things been going on in Marlo's life that's crazy. Okay, and right now she's basically telling Courtney, and Courtney was like, okay, and Marlo's saying, what would you do? She said, I would say, I'm sorry. Can I help you in any way, or your family, or blase and the third? And then we have, I guess, Marlo's niece, or who's ever sitting down there. She's crying because she was really close to Quentin. So I don't know what's going on. This is really crazy where Marlo's taking this story, which, this happened in 2020, and she's never spoke about this. She never said anything about this. She never mentioned this. And there was so many times that people asked her why she don't like Kandi. It's been like, oh, Kandi nasty, Kandi this, Kandi that, Kandi don't help nobody, Kandi's this. And but she never mentioned that Kandi didn't even care when my nephew died. She just act like it was nothing. But Kandi did say on her YouTube channel that sometimes people think that she's not as compassionate as people think that she should be. So is Marlo looking for compassion? And she very may well be looking for compassion and also some money as well. Like, give me some flowers. Show me. I think it would meant a lot. I think Marlo brags to her family about knowing Kandi, because we did see Marlo bring her mother to meet Kandi. It could be just for TV, to get her mom on TV, but Kandi's really a big deal. She's really a big name. It's not like she's play. She's she's not play. She real. If it would have came from Kandi, because it's kind of like bragging rights. And then her family's telling her, hey, your nephew worked for Kandi, and not getting a response for Kandi that she probably thought that she would have got, and she could have went back and bragged to her family about how Kandi cares. And I think she chalked it up at that time, and it didn't really bother her. But it's a story time. Storyline time. So it is what it is. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Kenya Moore is planning a trip, and it has something to do with black colleges. And with the whole situation, she said, I'm planning this trip, and my two closest friends are not here. And I was like, oh my God, she's giving Drew a shout out and saying Drew is her closest friend. So you hear that, Drew? Drew, please don't mess this up, because Kenya Moore is saying that you are one of her closest friends compared to Sheree and Marlo on the show. Sheree is definitely not Kenya's friend. So you see that. So we got Kenya Moore, giving Drew a shout out. And she also mentioned how important and how much impactful Kandi Burruss' friendship to her is. So that's a... And a funny part was also when Kenya Moore was like, I'm sitting in first class. This is, given like a tour guide. This is first class. Me, Monyetta, Sheree, and also Sanya. And then she said Marlo, and she said Courtney and Mumble Mouth Marlo are in coach. I was like, Lord, that was too funny. And Sheree was like, I don't know what's going to be planned, because Sheree and Marlo are not liking what Kenya Moore is already planning for the trip. And we already know this is going to be a showdown. And so we have Sheree talking about eating booty. Somehow eating booty came up, and Kenya Moore done ate some booty. She said she did it back in her 20s. And Sheree basically saying, girl, so I didn't know eating booties back in the 90s or the 80s was popular. Me either, child. People, Kenya Moore was getting on her freak on, okay? And disgusting. Sorry. But it is. And Kenya Moore didn't back down from it. You know, she owned it. And Marlo's basically saying, no way. And this dress that Marlo has on is pretty. And so we get to the table. They're eating lunch. They're supposed to be doing a dance, you know, routine, a dance off, or whatever the case is. And this is Courtney's baby father. He used to be somebody really famous in the 90s. And then we get to the Kenya Moore and the Marlo Hampton showdown at the dinner table, because Kenya Moore is sticking up for Juicidora, basically saying, you know, Juicidora had a difficult time when it came to Marlo, that she was standing over her, she was yelling, she was aggressive and threatening. And Marlo definitely did yell in her face and scream in her face. I know saliva done hit Drew's face, and I know she had to smell that breath as well, and that would have made me very upset. I don't want anybody hot breath on me unless it's somebody I want hot breath on me yelling. Okay? And so we get to this whole situation where they go back and forth, and it's going to be a continuance situation, taking shots back and forth, and it's just like, okay, nothing good is going to come out of this situation. Some nice reads, but you could just tell it's tired. And then Sheree won the dance off, and she is upset because her room is not really a suite, or okay, she just got a one bed and two windows, baby, no TV. And Marlo's upset because she got a wine cooler for a champagne, and they're upset with Kenya. Kenya don't be playing. Kenya don't be caring about these trips for these girls. You know, these hotels. I have no idea. And so then Kenya tells, you know, homegirl Manetta that you need to go change properly. You need to go do this. This is going to be a big event. You know, I'm hosting this, and Blase the third. And, you know, it's supposed to be like black tie. Kenya's all dressed up. And baby, when they get there, everybody's in army fatigues. They in all types of clothes and outfits. It's not the crowd that Kenya Moore thought it was going to be. Okay, it wasn't elegant. It was no chairs. And they only had certain sitting time. It was a whole mess, child. And then you get there, the person that's throwing the place, he's upset, he's jealous because the Real Housewives of Atlanta is taking all the attention because they got production, they got camera crew. I guess the people ain't feeling that. They should have been over there filming next to the ladies, talking about their organization and where they need, you know, help at, and Blase in the third. But they was just like, nah, it's a ruckus. We don't want these ladies here. And Kenya Moore had a certain time where she had a certain spot to do whatever she needed to do. And so that space was taken. And plus, they wanted, you know, production to leave. So production is leaving. You know, the ladies are going to leave because they ain't going to get no money. You know what I mean? They're trying to film to get paid. You know, the day's closing out. They don't want to get paid for a half a day. They want a whole day. So Kenya Moore is like, you know what? I guess she thought she was going to stay there with the ladies for a little while. It didn't work out that way. And, you know, everybody was just in regular clothes, holes in the jeans, you know, tank tops on, jean shirts on, you know, all types of, you know, street clothes on, kind of dressed up, you know. Marlo and Sanya send bottles, and it brings more attention to the ladies and the people at the venue. It's just like, we're not feeling that at all. And then Kenya Moore, they left, they get up to go. Kenya Moore goes to her room, just like what happened when Cynthia was having her party for the ladies, her bachelorette party. You know, Kenya Moore retired. Kenya Moore retired because she has a daughter, and then the ladies are banging on her door. Marlo bangs on the door. Marlo kicks the door. Sheree bangs on the door, and then Sheree kicks the door. And then Sonia, she bangs on the door. So they're really harassing this lady. She don't even want to be bothered. She's in her room. You know, she got her daughter. I don't know why you guys don't go get a steak. I don't know why you guys don't do this and that. So basically, they're calling her out and just basically basically saying Marlo is saying you at work. It's no more summertime and all this other stuff. So they're harassing her, and they think it's cute and they think it's funny. And Marlo and Sanya and Sheree was really like into like doing this. Like, we're not gonna let you just go to your room and retire. We want something to do. Like, you're supposed to be hosting this trip. We came down here. We want this to be done. And I wish that Kenya Moore did have something for these ladies to do, but the way that they carried it, they could have had, another meetup or another such and such with her and talked about it. But banging on her door when her daughter's there, they're sleeping, and Mark Daly is trying to complain and basically say that the Real Housewives of Atlanta is a hectic environment. The fans of the show, they're harassing, they're threatening. Now you got cast members interrupting a young baby sleeping and basically yelling and screaming, saying she needs to get to work. What are you doing? Using a B word, frightening and scaring, which can be used against her, with this whole divorce that she got going on, even though it's been going on for years, child. So you got this whole situation. It's really, really disrespectful, and it was childish. Like, it really showed who has class and who doesn't have class. I wouldn't even went up there to her room. It wouldn't have been no peer pressure. I would have went to my room. Y'all could have Ubered somewhere, okay? And then, Marlo knocks on the door. And then Kenya Moore's like, why are you knocking on my effing door? Why are you banging on my door? My daughter's sleeping. Kenya Moore threatened to call the cops. Marlo said no. You're so disrespectful. You so cheap. You so broke. Won't you get an extra room and put your daughter in so you can come and chill with us? Like, you guys, you say that you don't like her, but basically you're trying to point out, you're trying to cause drama and basically say she's not doing her job. She can't do her job like she's supposed to or efficiently because she got her daughter. Everybody knows the reason why she got baby Brooklyn with her. She ain't got nobody else to watch her like that. She ain't gonna leave her baby in Atlanta, because she's trying to be an all-around mom, travel with her daughter all the time. And it is what it is. It's a sad situation because Marlo wants sympathy, but then she doesn't give sympathy. She wants somebody to take in what's going on with her and try to be there for her and want their support, but yet she can't see or reach or empathize with somebody else or put herself in their shoes. It's just like, this is how I feel like being a mean girl, and now I got all these followers following me, even though they might not be participating and knocking on the door, but they still behind me like a crowd gather around the door to say, come outside, let's fight. Like, child, like, what's going on? Like, this is all crazy. And yeah, like, some of this shit don't even make sense. Like, for real. So y'all tell me.